All right, hello and welcome to another surprise episode of Tiva Drive. We're just doing, actually this is not a real Tiva Drive, we're just doing our first impressions of the 2022 Audi Q4 50, which have just arrived. They were stuck in Halifax port since November of 21, and just released to all the dealers in Canada and the United States. There was an issue with the software update, so it took them a while. As you know, the CEO of Volkswagen was fired over the software issues with Volkswagen ID.4, on which it is based. So this is basically the Audi version of the Volkswagen ID.4 all-wheel drive. Canada only gets the 50 model, which is the all-wheel drive, top of the line. In Europe, you can also buy two rear-wheel drive versions, 40 and 45. The 40 we drove in Europe. There's a video already on our YouTube channel if you want to check that one out. And now we're finally driving the Canadian version, which just arrived, fresh off the boat. So the Matrix LED headlights, so this is basically the base car, which starts at $60,000. As you see it here, it's got 15,000 worth of options, so it's a total of 75,000. So it's basically $10,000 more than the ID.4 Pro S all-wheel drive. Of course, this being an Audi luxury vehicle, it has to be priced above its Volkswagen sibling. So first of all, we'll draw your attention to the Matrix headlights. You can actually design the look of the LEDs through the menus on the center screen inside the car. As you walk around, this car here is equipped with, this looks like 18-inch wheels. We're gonna confirm it. These are actually 20s. Wow. These are actually 20s. They don't look like 20s, but they are 20s. So it looks like there's space to upgrade to 21s, perhaps even 22s with lower profile. This is the S line. So that's one of the packages you can get. There's only one version of the car. You can just fill it with different packages. One of those packages here is a TAC package, which gives it a bigger center screen, Matrix headlights, and so on. The car, one of the differentiation of the car from the Volkswagen ID.4 is the opening sunroof. So you've got a panorama sunroof which actually opens just like our e-tron. In the ID.4 you only get the fixed glass sunroof, which is very nice. We'll show you the interior space of the car momentarily. It's quite spacious. We just drove just a few hundred meters from the dealership, and by the way, thank you to Audi Queensway for letting us drive their test vehicle. We're gonna sit both in the front and in the back. So I have a very comfortable position in front, and a person of my stature can still sit in the back. Plenty of space in the back seat for me. No problem with the headroom. Plenty of space for my legs, and the front seat is set for my comfortable driving position. It comes with a upgraded Sonos system. That's one of the packages that this car has. Sounds very nice. You have the passenger controls of temperature in the back. The vents for the passengers are in the center, not in the B-pillar like with some of the other cars we just tested. But the passengers can set their own temperature, separate zone for the rear. And you have two USB-C plugs and a 12-volt plug here. A bit of storage for the passengers. All right, let's check out the hatch and the... So I believe I do have a key, and it does have a foot swipe function, and it works. So the trunk is obviously smaller than our e-tron, but it's still a very good size. You do not have the spare tire like our e-tron, so you only have the repair kit for the tires. Here is the e-tron cables, which is identical to our e-tron cable, which is dual voltage 120 and 240. With two different plugs. Here's your level 1 plug, and here's your level 2 plug. And we just showed on an example. This is a high-powered level 2 plug. So this is basically between 5 to 7 kilowatts of power, which plugs into either your stove or your dryer outlet. So it's high-powered level 2. So you can use that. Of course, the Audi prefers, and all OEMs prefer you to get a separate wall box to charge your electric car. Still, very good, good sized trunk, and you have a 40-20-40 split, which is very practical. So you will fold the entire middle seat to put in the long items. All right, so let's close it up. Let's show you the front space. Okay, so these are the sport seats, again, upgraded sport seats with like 16-way adjustments. The console here in the center is different. So when we go take it for a spin, we'll show you. So why don't you jump in the back and then we'll start our test drive. Okay, so here we are inside the Q4 2022 version. So as we mentioned, the first difference here is the sunroof, the panorama sunroof. I think this is how it's supposed to work. Maybe we have to turn on the car. The car is now on. There we go. So it's just, you slide your finger. So the first move is opening the shade. It's an electric shade. And as you can see, it's a very good size panorama roof with an opening section. So we're gonna open the sunroof for you to show you. There's a large section that opens up. Here you go. Very nice. So that's the one of the differentiations, one of the differences with the Volkswagen ID4 cousin. So we'll close the blind so that our cameraman is nice and cool in the back. So you have the display. This display, and this is basically comes with a tech package, the larger center display. The dashboard here comes right out of the Volkswagen ID4. It's almost identical. This is more like the center screen in our Audi e-tron. And then you have a little screen here for climate settings. To change the temperature, you pull, and then to increase the temperature, you pull, and then you push to get the temperature down. So these are regular buttons here. You can turn the climate off. There's an off button right here, and the seat heaters are here. Recirculation, temperature, then you can put it on eco climate or off or on, etc., etc. All the big functions. So now the other nice feature is that the Android Auto now is wireless. So the wireless charging pad is here at the bottom. And this is where my phone is. You also have two USB-C outlets here and a 12-volt outlet. And we haven't really connected it yet, so I don't want to connect my phone to this vehicle. It's a test vehicle that's being test driven all the time. We don't have time to do all the setups, but it is a wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, which is great. This floating console here, you have the start-up button, you have the drive select, so changing your modes. So you have efficiency, comfort, auto, dynamic, individual, just like our e-tron. It's basically the same modes, except it doesn't have the off-road mode because this is not adaptive suspension, just a regular suspension, so you cannot raise and lower your suspension. Obviously, it's a much cheaper model, so it kind of makes sense. And then you have the volume controls for the radio. So you have the skip, search, and then volume all in one here. So obviously you can use the buttons on your steering wheel for volume and entertainment, but you can also use this, and then you basically slide your finger and to change the volume, and then you skip stations to the left and to the right, or you can use the buttons on your steering wheel. To change the view on the main dashboard, so right now we have the map. We're in Shareway near where the dealership is, so you can change the display. So you have the central display with the map to the left, and then date and time to the right. You have a full map view, or you have the partial map view. So basically, it's right now the percentage. We're at 89%, showing 344 kilometers. So at full, you're going to be in the high threes. And this being the ID4 all-wheel drive battery, you have about 77 kilowatt hours of battery size in this vehicle. So it should feel essentially the same as the ID4 in a more luxurious package with its 300 horsepower and estimated 6-second acceleration from 0 to 100. It's a full second slower than our e-tron, the big e-tron, the big brother, and it matches the acceleration of its cousin ID4 all-wheel drive. All right, let's take it for a spin. So first of all, you have the drive. Then you can put it in B, which is essentially supposed to be the one-pedal driving mode. And let's see if it creeps. The car actually creeps, but it has a auto hold. So there's perhaps a way to adjust the creep to cancel the creep. I'm not sure. Our Audi doesn't have a creep. So we're going to take our time going through this. But anyways, the car creeps. And the one pedal driving, you can get to it through the B mode, kind of like in Toyota and Volvo. Or you can get through it by maximizing. So if you're in D rather than B, so you change it this way, you can see which mode you're on the dashboard. We're now in D. We can adjust, and there's a little display showing here how strong of a region we have. There's 3-stage region. So 0, 1, 2, 3, and now we're in the strongest region. So we're gonna try and compare the strength of the region and the one pedal driving. As you know, our Audi e-tron, the big one, does not have full one pedal driving. You always have to press the brake pedal as you to come to a full stop. So we'll see if that's the case here. Most likely it is, because the car creeps forward, even in auto hold. And of course, there's a lot of traffic around Tesla supercharger, so we have to wait until the traffic clears. A lot of trucks coming, etc. So let's take it for a little spin. Very quiet interior. It should be technically quieter than ID4, and I believe it is. It's been a while since we drove the ID4 Pro S all-wheel drive equivalent. Definitely the interior is more luxurious. You can tell that it's a luxury brand. So we are, let's just see what mode we're in. We'll try and drive select. And we are in dynamic. Okay, that's where we want to stay. You have efficiency, comfort, and auto mode as well. Okay, so that's about it. And we have the navigation. You can change navigation to show the satellite imagery as well, but you have to go through the settings. So it's a very well-designed car. Lots of storage both in the doors and here in the middle. I like the floating console design as well. It's quite interesting. So we'll try and take it a bit on the highway to see how it behaves in terms of the ramps, merging with traffic and acceleration. So right now we're in max region. It cancels itself for some reason. So every time you accelerate, it seems to, the region cancels itself. So again, you have to go through the menus to go to manual region. Just like in our e-tron, you have to go into manual region in order to stay with the max region. So we're gonna just make it simpler, put it in B, max region, and then see how it feels. Yeah, it decelerates quite strongly. So again, it's not a full one pedal driving because it will not come to a full stop, but you just have to touch the brake pedal to come to a full stop, and then it has the auto hold. So it's not bad. You still, ideal would be to have this one pedal driving, but both Porsche and Audi don't like the one pedal driving for some reason. So we're just gonna drive it the way they designed it. So let's see, try and accelerate, full power. And obviously I can feel that this is not the 400 horses of our e-tron, not the same kind of level of acceleration, but it basically feels the same as the ID4 Pro S all-wheel drive with the same horsepower, 300 horses all-wheel drive with both the front motor and the rear motor. So we won't take too long to go on the 427. We'll try and turn around at the end and stay on the 427. I think this lane stays, so we should be good. There's a very brisk acceleration. The throttle calibration is very nice. It reacts to your movement, right away. Perhaps it's the sport mode setting or the dynamic. Audi calls it dynamic mode setting. It reacts very quickly. You just touch it and it goes. So definitely nice and quiet cabin. Again, not as quiet as our e-tron, which is known for its sound insulation. But remember, this is a much cheaper car. So this starts at $60,000 versus almost $90,000 for our e-tron. So it's a great alternative. It's definitely smaller. You can tell by the cabin, it's a smaller car, but it has all the comfort features. You know, if you don't care about 5 seconds versus 6 seconds to 100 and it being a little smaller, I know some people were trying to fit the golf clubs in the back with the seats up, and they had difficulty fitting their golf clubs in the back, so the trunk is definitely smaller. But you know, there's ways. You can pull down the middle of the rear bench, and then you can put your golf clubs through there and still have 4 people in the car. So it's not a big issue, right? It's definitely smaller, but still a good size. So what would be its competition from BMW? Really, BMW is not bringing the small electric cars. They don't bring iX1, they don't bring iX3 here. Mercedes will bring only the EQB. They will not bring the EQA. So EQB is slightly bigger and more expensive than this car. So there is no really direct competition among the Europeans. Of course, you have the Hyundai Ioniq 5, you have the Kia EV6, and from the luxury side, Genesis GV60, which we just drove, so you can refer to that video to get our impressions. It is in its performance version, which is $80,000, so substantially more than this. In its base version, it's the same horsepower, very similar horsepower to this Audi. In its performance version, which is way more expensive, 20 grand more, it's much more powerful and much faster. But so we have to compare apples to apples. So there is a lot of competition in this segment now, and too bad this car came with a big delay of 7 months, stuck in the port of Halifax and other North American ports, awaiting so there is a little spot in there that gives it even more. Yeah, there is like a resistance spot, and then it has a bit of a spot when you press it hard, so that it then gives you the full power. Again, one pedal driving, the regen is quite strong when you're in B mode, or you can play around with the shift paddles to adjust the regen mode to your liking. So that's nice, right? It's good to have this opportunity. Some people don't like the regen, they want to just keep it off. You can do that in this car. So we're gonna get off the highway and go back to the dealership. So again, you have to be patient until we get our hands on the press vehicle for a full week to do the full review. So this is simply just a first impression video that we wanted to give you, just as a follow-up to the Q4 40 video that we already have, which we drove in Europe, which is not coming here. So if you have any questions about this car, again, do not hesitate. If you want to test drive it, come to Audi Queensway at Kipling and Queensway in Etobicoke. Thank you again to the dealership and its manager, Taylor, for letting us drive this car. If you have any questions, please comment here, and as usual, do not forget to press the subscribe button on our channel to be informed whenever a new video is uploaded. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.